So, you're applying for an Australian student visa. That's fantastic. But hold on, because there is one single document that can make or break your entire application. Seriously. Get it right, and you're on your way. Get it wrong, your application could be dead on arrival. Let's make sure that doesn't happen to you.
Look, we get it. That Subclass 500 visa application can feel like you're trying to solve a giant puzzle. There are so many boxes to tick, so many details to get perfect, and the pressure is definitely on.
And no, that's not an exaggeration. We're going to focus on one piece of paper that the Australian Department of Home Affairs says is completely non-negotiable. Why? Because if you don't have it, your application isn't just rejected, it's considered invalid from the get-go.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll talk about that one make-or-break document. Then, we'll dive into what a CoE is and why it's so important. After that, we'll look at how to handle things if you're studying more than one course. And finally, we'll quickly cover the rare exceptions to the rule. Ready?
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1. We're talking about the absolute foundation of your student visa application. This isn't just a friendly suggestion from the government, it's a hard and fast rule.
The core idea here couldn't be simpler. When you lodge your application, you absolutely must prove that you are enrolled in a course of study. This is basically the first thing the immigration department checks for.
And the stakes are incredibly high. An application without this proof is considered invalid. Now that's worse than a rejection. A rejection means they looked at it and said no. Invalid means it's like you never even applied. You're back to square one and you've lost valuable time and money.
So what exactly is this right evidence we keep talking about? Well, for almost every single applicant, it all comes down to 3 little letters you need to burn into your memory.
This is it, the Confirmation of Enrollment, or CoE for short. This document is your golden ticket. It's not the same as an offer letter. An offer letter says, "We'd like to have you." A CoE says, "This person is officially one of our students." It's the government-recognized proof from your school that you are locked in.
And just so you know, there's a whole system behind this. Your course has to be on a special list called CCRIS. Just think of it as the official government directory of approved courses for international students. If a course isn't on that list, you can't get a student visa for it, period. Your CoE is your proof that you're in one of those approved courses.
All right, now things can get a little more complex. A lot of students don't just enroll in one single course, right? You might do an English course before your main degree or a diploma that leads straight into a bachelor's. This is a super common scenario.
In immigration speak, this is called packaging your courses. And the good news is you can cover them all with just one student visa. But, and you knew there was a but coming, you have to provide the right evidence for every single course from the very beginning.
The process itself is pretty logical. You just have to be careful. You need a separate CoE for course number 1, another CoE for course number 2, and so on. But here's the crucial part. You must include all of those CoE codes when you submit your one visa application. If you forget one, your visa might only be granted for the length of that first course, and that could cause some major problems down the road.
Now, there are also rules about the gaps between your packaged courses. Generally, the break can't be longer than 2 months. The main exception to this is that big end-of-year holiday. So if your first course finishes in, say, November, and the next one kicks off at the start of the new academic year in February, that longer gap is usually okay.
Okay, so far it's been CoE, CoE, CoE. We've really hammered that home. But you might be wondering, are there any situations where you don't need one? Well, yes, but the list of exceptions is very, very short.
So let's be super clear. For the vast majority of you listening, the rule stands. You need a confirmation of enrollment. But for a tiny handful of applicants, the government asks for a different kind of official proof. Let's see exactly who fits into that special category. Here they are, the only 4 exemptions. If you're sponsored by the Australian Department of Defence or you have a scholarship approved by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, you'll need a letter of support. If you're a secondary exchange student, you need something called an ASES form. And finally, if you're a postgraduate research student just sticking around to get your thesis marked, a letter from your university will do. That's it.
And that brings us right back to this killer quote, a direct warning from the Department of Home Affairs. This isn't just some friendly advice, it's a final notice. Look at that word again, invalid. It means all your hard work, all your hopes, it's like they never existed in the system. This one document is literally everything.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Before you even think about clicking that submit button, are you 100% sure your evidence of enrollment is correct, complete, and ready to go? Go and double check it right now.
because it's the one thing you simply can't afford to get wrong.